Right. So hello again, my name is Savannah Haverson, and I'm the Community Relations Representative at University House Issaquah. Before we get started with today's presentation, I would like to share a little bit about our beautiful community. So this is University House Issaquah here, and we are a premier retirement community located near the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, where residents enjoy access to nearby Issaquah shopping centers, as well as beautiful views of the Issaquah Alps and the year-round natural beauty of our 2 courtyard gardens. We are honored to be partnered with the University of Washington Retirement Association. It gives our residents access to classes through UW's Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. Our residents share a passion for knowledge, art, and culture, and a desire to remain active in the mind, body, and spirit. So if you'd like to learn more about us, please give us a call at 425-557-4200. And now on to our main event. We are honored to host Anna, Cheryl, and Joyce, who will be leading our art show discussion. And before we get started with the introductions, I wanted to take a moment to show you a video of the art collection that's currently in our community. I'll go ahead and get this to play. All right, some beautiful pieces in there. And now I want to introduce our presenters today. So Cheryl Huffington is one of the artists that's featured in this collection. And here are 2 pieces of her work. And of course, I will send out slides to everybody that wants them. So if you don't get to take enough time looking at these, you will have copies of them at the end of the presentation. There's 2 more of her work. And then Joyce Donaldson, this is 2 pieces of hers. And then 2 more. And then Anna Macrae, these are a few pieces of hers. And Anna is actually our art curator. Anna is a mixed medium artist working in oil paint, found objects, and recycled materials, creating 2- and 3-dimensional artwork and installations. So Anna curates exhibitions for Era Living to bring a rich variety of rotating quality arts exhibitions to our retirement communities. She seeks to enhance and refresh the visual environments for the residents and provide a platform for conversations and connections between local artists and the community. And now, before I hand it over to Anna, I did want to take a moment. We have a special announcement. When we have these new art collections in our community, the residents will go around and get to see all of the art and vote on their favorite pieces. And so I have the honor of presenting our top 3 placers from the Resident Choice Awards. And what makes it even more special is we do have 2 of the winners on the call today. And so I'd like to present to you our Resident Choice Awards. So in first place, Cheryl has won with her Demur. In second place, Joyce wins with the Zion Sentinel. And in third place, Roger's Autumn Morn. And these are just lovely pieces. Actually, a couple of these are right outside my office, and I know that I enjoy looking at them all day long, and our residents really get a benefit. So thank you so much and congratulations. These are all wonderful pieces, and we just so appreciate you putting them on loan so that we can all enjoy them too. Well, now I would like to pass it over to Anna, who's going to talk a little bit more about all the work that goes into putting these collections together.
Hi, yeah, so it's really nice to be able to talk to you today. I've been curating art exhibitions with Era Living for probably about 6 years now. I also work with June Sakaguchi, which I'm sure a lot of the artists know. She's a very renowned local artist. June has been working with Era Living for longer than I have, probably over 8 years, and she invited me to help her with some of her communities. And so now I actually curate art exhibitions for 5 of the Era Living communities. So each community does have a different vibe, and some have larger exhibition spaces than others. Here at Issaquah, it's one of my largest communities that I work with, and I have to, or the exhibition space shows approximately 65 pieces of artwork. We rotate the art exhibitions every 4 months, so that's 3 exhibitions a year. And usually I source my artwork from local art groups. I find that this is a really nice way to go, because if you're in an art group, you're usually a fairly established artist yourself, and so you're at a certain level with your art practice. So it's really nice to kind of work with the art organisations. And so usually what I'll be doing is put what we call a call for art out to either an organisation or just generally to the Seattle community, with generally a rough theme that we may be looking at, and then they send their submissions to me, and then I select the pieces of artwork that will fit nicely with the show. And then all the work gets delivered, and then I figure out the best placements for them in the spaces. And really my job at this point is quite a creative part, because my goal is to uplift every piece, so the position of it and what it might be paired with, to just kind of enhance the whole visual appearance. And so that's always quite a fun bit for me, just placing the artwork out. And we're lucky enough to have professional installers that will come along and install the artwork for us, which is a really nice way to do that, because then it's very nicely presented. So if you are an artist in the Era Living Art Exhibition program, your work will be fully insured. It's hung by professional artists, and if there's any sales, that there are quite frequently, then the artist will get 100% of any sales, which is rather nice too. So, and I would also like to thank Era Living during the COVID times, because we still felt it was really important to bring new art exhibitions to the residents of the communities, because it's very uplifting for them. You know, it really changes the environment, which, you know, during the lockdown particularly, you know, that was so important, just to kind of, you know, give that new look to the whole community and give them something nice to refresh and uplift the spirits. And part of the art exhibition program was to provide a really nice gala reception, which, if anyone remembers those days, was rather nice, because we had kind of parties and wine and food and music, and it was a really nice event. And whilst we can't do the full marketing program, Era Living had agreed that we would do what we're calling the Residents' Choice Awards, which is new during the COVID times, when we can't offer in-person viewing, and it's just a nice thank you to the artists and appreciation for you sharing your work with us. So anyway, that's probably about it from now from me, just giving you an idea how the program works. And if there's artists on this call, which I see there are a few, thank you very much for being part of it. Look forward to keep showing your work with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. All right. Well, Cheryl, would you mind sharing a little bit about your work with us?
Sure. Oh, I didn't know if you were going to show the pieces or whatever. Just in general. You want
yes,
me just
in
to
general.
share? Okay.
If you'd like, I can pull up my screen and go back to some of your pieces if you'd like them in front of you.
That's okay. I wasn't clear on what you were wanting there at first. Okay. Yes. Gosh, like a lot of artists, I have loved art, creating art since I was a child, and just pretty much have kept that up all my life. Had some breaks there, but went back to it and started with the dry medium of pastel, soft pastel, which is pigments held together with binders. The more binders, the harder the stick, the less binders, the softer, and it just depends on what kind of stroke you want to make, which one you pick up and use. And you can do layering. Anyway, so I took out this box that somebody gave me for my birthday one year, and I thought, oh, I love this. And I needed to find a class, which I did with a lady. And then I have taken workshops with other pastel artists. And in recent years with collage artists, acrylic artists, kind of expanding a little bit, but my first love is pastels. And it is just so gratifying. I brought a few here to show you, and some of the surfaces that I use. And you just take a stick and you just draw it on there. And this is a soft one. I don't know if you can see on my fingers. I usually use gloves and a mask when I paint. This is another soft one, a different paper. I mostly use sanded paper, which grabs the pastel and it just brings the color alive. It's almost like it paints itself. And another piece here is velour that I use sometimes for fur, animals, for flowers. And then there are many kinds of pastel papers. But through the years, almost 30 years of painting in pastel, I still at times feel like I'm just scratching the surface. But it's a joyous ride. It's really fun. And sometimes you think, I think I know how that's going to turn out. And it sort of does. And other times it doesn't. And it's a fun, oh, a surprise. So it's one of my joys in life.
Thank you so much, Cheryl.
Mhm.
All right, and Joyce, would you like to share about your art?
Sure. I am primarily oil painter. I've been painting for years. I have taken advantage of classes at the community colleges and University of Washington and workshops here. And I'd like to put a plug in for Edmonds because it seems to be an artist community.
Mhm.
Francis Anderson Center has had some wonderful artists there to introduce us to art, different kinds of art. And we also have our Parks and Recreation and our Edmonds Foundation. They provide a facility called Artworks, which used to be a big garage in Edmonds, but it is open for all kinds of different artists to meet and use. So unfortunately, we've had some real restraints because of COVID, of course, but we're just now getting back to being able to go back to our getting together with other artists to be encouraging and share work and critique and work on that learning process. So it's been a long, long time. I'm really old. So that'll tell you how I squeezed all those classes in. I wanted to also say that most of my work are landscapes, and they are trips that my husband and I have taken. So you probably noticed that I've been to Utah a few times, and there's so much to see and paint out there in our beautiful country. I do Eastern Washington. I like the mountain passes, and we have just no end to beautiful landscapes to work on. So that's kind of my favorite. Another aspect that I will talk about for a minute is I do Western art, and I have some cowboys, young kids that actually work a ranch in northeastern Oregon. And I have used them as a subject a lot. I met the parents, and so their life on the range has been another subject. So I haven't put it in shows, but I have invested a lot of hours in just loved painting the Western scene too. So I'm not sure what I'll pick on next, maybe flowers. But I so appreciate that you guys make this available for us, and it is an incentive to get to work with the brushes and the paints. So, and I'm thrilled to have a prize.
Yes.
Let me tell really quickly about that particular piece. That was at Zion, and it was the very end of the season. My husband and I had driven down, we fly usually to Utah or Nevada and then drive the rest of the way. And that was the last day that it was open. And they had a big freeze, so lots of ice on the rocks and on the roads and everything. And I really wanted to capture the look of the frozen rocks and faces of the landscape there. So that one was very unusual and a different kind of setting. And so I hope it looks cold. Okay, and I hope to be painting again for your shows.
Well, thank you, Joyce. So this is the image that Joyce was just talking about. Yeah, I can see some blue in there. Is that
Mhm.
adding to the
it's all frost. That's the Virgin River that's running down to the end of the park there, and it's It's all sheets of ice on the rocks.
Mm,
It is beautiful.
yes. May I say something about mine too? That's a great idea.
Yes, please.
Joyce. And thank you so much, residents, and what an honor to have this award. This was my kitty, Fiona Ray, and we fostered her and her brother for a while. Her original owner had passed away, and it just was a delight. And she was kind of timid, kind of shy at first, and I'd see her coming out of a cupboard and just easing out, or coming around the corner of the wall like this, and just not being out there, but just, I'm getting used to you guys. And it just warmed my heart, and thought, I've got to paint her. I love to paint animals and landscapes primarily. So that was my kitty. We miss her.
And Cheryl, I know that we were speaking a little bit, I think it was yesterday, talking about the pink that you see in the fur.
Yes, and thank you, Savannah. I wanted to mention more about that. Like a lot of artists try to do, I think, you use a color in one place, then you might want to use it in another place to have it kind of harmonized. And this, I thought, where her nose is pink, and the little pink in her ear, which I exaggerated a bit. And then I kept looking at the image and so forth, and I thought, I think a little bit of pink can go there on her chest, and just pushing the color a little bit. I think a lot of artists would understand that, and the color around her was more black, sort of cooler colors, and just warmed up the whole scene. So and I see little touches of pink on her stripes too. So that's what that was about. Just putting pink on her nose and wanting to use it elsewhere in the piece.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. It looks like we might have a couple. Oh, everyone is just saying how beautiful and lovely those pieces are. And thank you so much for all of your hard work. I wanted to see if there were any questions that we have for the artists that we can talk about today. So feel free to start typing those into the chat box, or if you'd like to come off of mute and ask the questions, that's fine too. All right. I'm not seeing any questions coming through yet. We'll just give it another minute or two.
I'd like to ask Joyce about her Zion picture. Yeah, and I like the colors too of the stream, or was it frozen? It's hard to tell exactly.
No, it was running, but it was very, frost on the ground, frosty, but it was running.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming through. So that kind of wraps up our time here today, but I just wanted to say thank you again to Anna and Joyce and Cheryl for taking your time to talk more about your process and your art. And then also, of course, for having your art on display here. We really do appreciate having that for our residents to enjoy and add to the culture of our community. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Yes.
And thanks
Yes.
to all the artists.
Thank
for
you
great
for making
art.
this.
Thank you, everybody. And if you do have any questions, once we wrap up here today, feel free to still email those to us. It's at isqcr@AeraLiving. We'll make sure that those questions get passed along to the presenters and get the answers back to you. And then we will also be sending out an evaluation form. We'd love just to hear your feedback. Any areas of improvement for future Zoom events are greatly appreciated. But if you have any questions about our community here at University House Issaquah, or if you'd like to tour and take a look at some of this art in person, feel free to give us a call. We're happy to schedule that visit for you. Our number here is 425-557-4200. All right, well, that concludes today's meeting. Again, I'm Savannah Haverson, and I just really enjoyed today's presentation. So thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you
Bye.
soon.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.